Hey everybody! In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a fun birthday card. I'm using this awesome cover plate die. This is a birthday themed die with a bunch of balloons, but it could really be for any occasion. It does not have to be for a birthday. And to start this card off, I am going to glue the frame portion of the card to the card base. And this is such a fun format die. And I want to make sure that that's all in place because what I'm essentially doing is paper piecing after this. Now I have my My Sweet Petunia sticky mat, which is really essential if you want to ink blend a bunch of die cut pieces at the same time. It holds them all firmly in place, even the teeniest, tiniest little die cuts, as you will see. Because on this first round, I didn't actually grab all of the balloon pieces because some of them didn't really look like balloons to me. They were just little partial pieces. And so I will grab some teeny tiny ones and you'll see how well the sticky mat works for this process. It's even sticking to my hand when I'm trying to lift my hand up. So anyway, what I will do is put down a base layer of red ink. I'll have everything listed below. And then I'm going to create a shadow on the lower left side of each one of these balloons. I find that whenever I'm working with balloons, this just makes it more dimensional and realistic looking. And as I go, I'm looking over to my left at the frame to make sure I have the balloon pieces in the correct orientation, so that when I'm finished, all of the balloon pieces have their shading on the lower left side. And so that's why you'll see me flipping some of these before I add the red ink. So these are two analogous red colors, so they're perfect for shading. One is just a darker tonal value. So I'll shade these. This one is upside down, so I will have to flip that one. That is my one of only two full balloons. So you'll want to look for the little balloon pieces. And those look just great. Now have a towel nearby. And I usually use a little bit of rubbing alcohol just to make sure your fingers are really clean when you're putting this together. That's important on a clean and simple card, is just to have those details nice and crisp. And since this is a white background, I really need to have clean hands. So I keep that nearby. Now I'm adding just a little bit of glue to the back of each of these pieces, and it's very easy to tell what goes where. You're not going to have a problem with that, especially since some of them have straight edges, so you know they go at the edge. And I sort of put them on the mat in the order that they appear on the mini slimline card. Now I'm using this little tool. You can both pick up your items off the sticky mat with the pointy end of this tool, but I really like the little spatula end when I'm paper piecing because it helps me very gently push the paper pieced elements back onto the card front without kind of making a little dent in them. If you use just a pokey tool and you try to push elements down with the pokey tool, you can leave like a little divot in there. So I do like the spatula end, and you'll see me using that quite a bit. Now with these larger pieces, it's easier just to put the glue into the opening. Once that's stuck down there, it's going to be just fine. So just squiggle a little bit of glue in there and you are good to go. So you can see now, as this is sort of coming together, how dimensional the balloons look with just that extra little step. So while ink blending this would be super cute, especially if you're using like rainbow colors to fill in these balloons, even a monochrome balloon looks so much better when you do this one extra little step of adding the shading. So now I'm taking these tiny pieces that I missed the first time and putting them on the mat in the orientation they will be on the card front, so that I can get the shading right. Now, some of them are so tiny, they're not really going to need any shading, but I think I've found all the pieces that I need. So that is good to go. And I will just do the same process quickly, ink blend them with the first base color. Just make sure you don't mix up your blending brushes. Ask me how I know that. And I just put them in areas that didn't have a bunch of ink on the sticky mat. To clean the sticky mat, just gently put some dish soap. I just use Dawn dish soap. Sometimes I use a little nail brush to add a little friction, and then clean it, and then let it dry, and it's sticky and ready to go for the next time. I find this invaluable in situations like this. Now on these skinny bits, I will actually put the glue onto the die cut itself, and see where that little spatula just helps you get all of this done. So just a couple more, and then there are 2 balloons that are cut off. You can see in the corner. They're just barely peeking in. This is kind of a fun little design detail of this die. And so I made sure to ink blend those as well. And it's really easy to figure out which is which because they're completely different size and shape. So you are good to go there. So I will get that one in there, but I am not done with this because a white background looks super cute with this, but you know what's going to look even cuter is some black and white text. So I'm putting alcohol on my hands, again, cleaning them, getting them ready for this step. And I had this book on comics that I've used for a lot of paper crafting, but it also has pages with just text. And I thought that black and white text would look really fun. So I ran the die through my die cutting machine again with one of these pages, and it's flipped upside down. So you can see the cutting side is up and the text portion is on the back. And then I just brought my plate and everything in here so that all the pieces would stay where they are and help me put this back together. Pretty easy to tell which shape goes where when you do this section. Now I do have the die taped to the paper that I was cutting with some 3M Post-it tape. And so at the edges, you will want to sort of pry the tape away. You can see it sticking out there, lower left, where it's holding that paper onto the die. And that's where you'll see me coming up from the bottom with my little tool to push that out kind of gently so that I don't tear it when I'm trying to pull it away from that tape. I love this tape because it has a very low tack. So unless you have some really fragile, like older book pages, you're not going to risk tearing your paper or your cardstock. But here you can see where I poke that through from the back. And if you just sort of work your way around the plate, these little pieces are easy to find and put in place. You can see this doesn't really take any time at all. I try to do the little ones first because the big ones are so much easier to find. They're kind of more unusual shapes. And like this one that has a little balloon string, that's super easy to spot. And because this paper isn't exactly the same color of white as my cardstock is, because my cardstock is kind of a brighter white, and this is a slick glossy paper, not that different from magazine paper actually. And so it has a little bit of a gray tone to it that you don't notice when you're looking at the page, but you notice it when it's next to white cardstock. And so there's a little bit of contrast there that I really like. And sorry, my video cut out a little bit there, so it's a little bit blurry, but now it's fixed. And look how cute that looks with the little text background, the shaded and rounded balloons. And here's the finished card and some other projects that are over on my blog today. So head over there. There's a link in the description. And thanks so much for watching.